back to another episode of the Truth and Transparency Podcast with your host, Brother X. And don't worry, listeners. The Culture Science will be here a little bit later in the conversation. Don't worry about that. I'll explain it in just a little bit. But here on the Truth and Transparency Podcast, we talk openly, honestly about everything in between, why people can't get right in 2024. And a certain generation, I won't say who, you know who you are. Please put the Mad Dog 2020 down. I know my generation says there's certain stuff that was just meant for us. No, it's not even meant for us. It's not even meant for my parents' generation. Dog, that shit is built like a steel worker. That shit put hair on your chest and Tim's on your feet. That's how strong that shit is. That shit erases hard drives.
Stop it. Get some help.
If you really want to struggle with liquor, drink Aristocrat.
Boy, if you don't get...
Yes, listeners, if you know what Aristocrat is, you've been to college and you've had the cooler punch. Terrible. But without going further, I want to make sure I actually introduce our guests. You know them, you love them. We can't do this podcast without them. Mr. Smith, introduce yourself.
Damn, I am weak. The fact that you said that shit, you come off with steel boots and hair on your chest.
No.
They got black Air Force energy, really? Just ready to fight.
Your name is now Earl if you drink that shit.
That's true. And as Earl, you're the mechanic that talk about something. Oh, you want that copper right there? That'd be about $350. But not $350, $350. That's you gotta say all in one syllable.
Like he says the whole word in one syllable. Like a whole sentence just. I'm sorry, what? There's gonna be $350. What? You know what? We're getting off on the tangent. We got serious business to talk about today.
We do.
Smith, how you doing?
I'm doing good. And listeners, it's your favorite Fed, Mr. Smith, also known as the Soundbite Poppy, also known as Mr.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
And I want to thank the listeners for the comments, the plays, and subscriptions. Keep feeding us and we keep feeding y'all. Number one, shout out to Canada Culture Podcast for always showing us love and support. Number two, white people, specifically the people that participated in January 6th or knew of people that participated in January 6th or were related to the people that were participating in January 6th. Listen, we've always been taught that if you do dumb decisions, you have dumb consequences. And if you don't believe that, just take it from this woman, Rebecca LaVrenz from Colorado Springs, who was convicted by a 12-member jury in Washington, D.C. of entering and remaining in a restricted building, disorderly and disruptive conduct in a restricted building or grounds, disorderly conduct in a Capitol building, and parading, demonstrating, or picketing in a Capitol building.
That my own country is treating me like a criminal. It's because I believe that they stole my rightful president. And just standing up for my country, it makes me a criminal. And it's just not right. It feels so weird to be here. Over 3 years ago, I was here.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you.
We don't care.
Oh, white tears. They are magically delicious.
But it's still unseasoned, though.
You're right.
Unseasoned. I don't know how they do it.
I mean, you got a little bit of Morton salt, some pepper, just a little bit, just like a.
No. That's some spicy whites. The ones that say, "Look here, Bucko." That's how you get the spicy white tears. I'm sorry. That was a little much. I apologize. I'm about to say what we gonna talk about today got me a little bit in my feelings a little bit.
I see, but damn spicy whites. Hey yo. Okay. All right. Whew. And scene. All right.
You know what we're just gonna start calling them? We're gonna start calling them pepper jacks.
Nigga. Corner. Go to the fucking corner. I'm not doing this with you today. My nigga, we're not even 5 minutes in the episode. Why are you doing this? Okay. Whoa, okay. To finish off this portion, I'm just gonna say, ma'am, you are in a federal building. There's rules. to all federal buildings taken from a Fed. They told you to leave. You said no. That is federal property. That means you are charged with a federal crime. 1 + 1 is 2. I don't understand where the tears are coming from. Did you think because of your race that your stuff would not always get, or that you wasn't going to get charged? I mean, not charged, but convicted? Ma'am, if this was a local charge, like normal stuff you deal with your local PD, sure, you got more jurisdiction, which is a whole nother conversation that we don't have time for. But you're talking about a Fed. You're talking about a federal building. When you get charged by the feds, that's like how we talked about Diddy last time we talked, listeners. When the feds coming, oh, they got it.
You already done.
Yeah. This is just more so just the formal procedure, but no, nigga, they got you. It's not even a question. Yeah. Next thing, the Freaknik documentary. I'm not gonna go into it because I don't know who has watched it, who hasn't. For those of you that didn't get a chance to watch it, please do. It is a great view. It's not as debaucherous as you would think. It actually gives a great history of like how it started, why it started, and how the transition went to, oh, okay, this got okay, this turned bad fast. But I just want to state, I am so appreciative, and I know I've said this time and time again on this podcast, but I'll say it again. I am so appreciative of the time of me, Brother X, Queen C, Teacher Bay, Culture Scientist, Tiny Librarian, Nurse Joy, Cousin Simba, all of us when we went to college, and the joy of when you went to a party, you wasn't worried about no section. You wasn't worried about how you were dressed. You went there because Soulja Boy's Crank That came on, and you like, oh, I'm about to yule my ass across the rest of this floor. Or you were gonna get silly. You were going to pop,
No
lock,
hands.
and drop it.
Pop, lock, and drop it. No hands.
No hands. That no hands was good. Ooh, boy, no hands would go up in the club.
I know.
But like all of those things, you came in and just like some nice jeans or whatever, like not nice jeans, like women have just some jeans that they know they could dance in that was stretchy and a good top. Dudes was looking like Chris Brown in the Run It video with a 2X baggy t-shirt, whatever. But it was just, it was a wild time. But it was just the fun of it, right? Like we weren't worried about who we were going to see, whatever. It was like, look, I'm getting this from you, from you. Don't worry about it. I don't want nothing from y'all. Now, if you decide to say, hey, I want to, hey, I'm not going to deny it. Look at my eyes. Roll them.
I'm about to say, twin size bed. Look at them. Roll them out. We see them side by side like it's Titanic. I'm sorry. I must be tired. I'm so sorry. Keep going.
He said,
ignore me.
He said, put twin beds together like the Titanic. Okay, you on one today. I don't know where it's gotten into you, but it was just those moments where it's like you just went there just to have fun with the people that you went to school with or hung out with. It was just the time just to de-stress and just be in the moment. And I think that's one of the guys, I couldn't find his clip prior to the recording tonight, but he basically said that our generation, the younger generation now, they will never be able to catch the lightning in the bottle that we had, because the first thing they do is, one, you got to get sections because you got to show that you got money. And then two, your phone comes out immediately to survey the space and all of that, like how things were going. And that's cool, but you capture the moment, you're not in the moment. And that's like one of the biggest things that we have. Because trust and believe, me, Brother X, and Brother Drewski, we had some stories, and when we were just like, yeah, dog, we can never have pictures you can see the light of day from this party.
Dog, it was orange soda and fitted caps. That's all you need to know.
Yep. Ooh, throwback. Okay. Yeah. Listeners, you don't need to know the reason behind that. That's internal. That's for us. And then lastly, By the time you're hearing this, listeners, it will officially be me and Teacher Bay's anniversary. So happy anniversary, Teacher Bay. I love you. You are my rock, my foundation. You make me want to look at you kind of crazy and be like, why are you so crazy? But at the end of the day, I couldn't see myself with anybody else but you. So here's your shout out. I love you, and I hope that we are not swamped with school slash work slash wedding planning slash all the other stress that's going on in our lives right now.
Don't worry, you will be.
I know, I
I'm about
know.
to say
It's more like manifesting it, but I don't know if it's going to work this time, so we'll see.
you are very real. That's real. But speaking of stuff that's on your mental, let's go ahead and do a quick mental health check between you and I. Shout out to Jeremiah. But we're not gonna talk about that. But he was at Dreamville, but we won't get into that. Oh, one thing I wanted to say before we do the mental health check. So I was randomly scrolling through Instagram, and apparently, did you know that the show Sister Sister had an episode where the twins actually tried to go to Freaknik one year when they were in college?
They did almost try to go to freak. Damn, I forgot about that episode.
And I was like, dog, that is like a core meal. I'm like, wait. When you think about what Freaknik was, and you think about that show, it's like, dog, how did they get away with this shit?
And the timing of it. Like if this was like maybe 1990, I might let it slide, but bruh, no. Not when they went. That's all bad. All bad.
That is prime Uncle Luke era.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We gonna leave that part alone. But yeah, mentally, let's see where we're at, man. I'll go ahead and kick it off. I'm in a weird space, man. Without getting into it, gotta have some family stuff going on. Had a loss in the family. I won't get into too much of the particulars, but trying to unfortunately not go spiral or get into too much of a mindset that I had to when my father passed, but it's tough, man. A lot of times when you lose someone, you kind of you play out scenarios, you think about all the things that happen, what's your role in everything was, how do you do, what can you do? And it's hard even more when it's other people within your family that you have going on that you're trying to help support, and you know what they're going through. And after a certain point, no much amount of talking and trying to comfort them is going to fill that space or help make those heavier days lighter. And some of it they just have to go through. And it's just hard because there's literally, as I've told people, is like there's some stuff where it's like there's literally nothing you can do. And you just kind of have to sit and be in your feels, which sucks tremendously. But it's like, what else can we really do, honestly? So beyond that, man, I'm doing okay. I get to see family, which is good. But all in all, man, just continue to love on your people. Try to stay as positive as you can. And yeah, man, stay prayed up. Mr. Smith, how are you doing mentally?
Ooh. This week has been whooping my ass. I I ain't never been tested like this. It just like from all facets of life, work, personal, just trying to stay mentally there. But I think what also kind of is working against me is the fact that normally around this time, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm thinking about what vacation and looking forward to it. And that'll like always keep my mind off of things. But it's like, I ain't got no vacations lined up for this year because niggas saving for a wedding. So what money? What funds I got? I don't know what those are. I have bills, I have invoices and installments. That's that's the funds that I have right now. So, I try to do my best right now. Like me and Teacher Bear kind of going through it. I know she's been slightly overwhelmed with like school and work. And so we're just trying to be there for each other and uh do the best that we can with the cards that are dealt right now. We've been very tired recently, and I know for me, I've now developed a slight pain on my back right side to where like if I take like a real deep breath, feels like someone's taking a knuckle and it's just like just a quick tap on the back of my stomach. So I'm like, okay. But I know that's also because of stress because I've had that once, like twice before. Ooh, probably back during the times of the government shutdowns when I used to affect me. And I know it's stress. I know it's like, okay, that's where you kind of have that mental maturity, be like, all right, hold up. Your body's telling you you're doing too much. Sit down, don't do nothing. But it's kind of hard when you're like, oh, but I gotta worry about this person. I gotta worry about this vendor, and I gotta talk to these people. I gotta email, and I gotta this, I gotta that. It's like it's kind of hard to do both. So I there's sometimes I've actually gone back to Insecure and the scene, I don't remember what episode it is, but everybody knows it's that iconic line that Issa says where she goes, I just want to fast forward to the part where everything is okay. I'm like, oh, oh God, Issa, you're reading me. You are reading me for filth right now. I don't, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy of this right now. Like, that's kind of how I feel. But I just try to do the best that I can. That's all that I keep saying, especially from when you were always bring up, how Pastor P would always say, eat the elephant one day at one bite at a time. And it's just like, look, you can only do the best that you can. Just take it one step at a time. Like, that's all right. If I keep hearing the same message, there's a reason for that. I need to really just dive into that. So just hoping and praying that things kind of slow down, work itself around, and a nigga need a vacation.
And man, don't we all?
But I will say, last thing, shout out to Brother X, culture scientist, uh, Brother Drewski. I don't know what we should call her. I guess Mrs. Drewski, I guess is the best way. Because I don't
I'm about to say we can't say Lady Ski. That sounds wrong. she gonna kill me next time she see me. I already know it.
look.
I'm sorry if you're listening to this. It came to my mind. I'm Ron Burgundy. Ron Burgundy with a lot of this shit. I see words. I say words. No, no Trump.
Listen, Lady Drewski. I know you got hands. I am not about to catch no smoke from you. You need to direct that to Brother X because I try to address it properly.
Wait, hold on. Wait. What about Lady Pyro? No,
no, because oh no, you're right. Yeah.
I'm about to say deep cut.
Yeah, the only reason why I was like, is because we have a friend named Pyro, but technically
I'm about to say
speaking,
he off in Wakanda right now, so we ain't even worried about him.
that's true. He doing his movie thing, so I can't be mad at that. So yeah, okay, we call it a Pyro. That's fine.
There we go. Unless you tell us otherwise, then listeners, don't be surprised when you just hear a bleep when we say the word.
That's true. Yep, you're right.
All right. Well, without further ado, you know it, you love it. We get copyrighted for it every time we play this song. Mr. Smith, play the music.
Okay. So a lot and not a lot has happened at the same time. It's kind of that weird area where it's like the sports, like the major sports are either doing like, free agency or negotiation or draft or however the case may be. But there was some good stuff that happened or some interesting stuff that happened. So number one, on a serious note in the NFL, OJ Juice Simpson, as of the time of this recording, passed away from cancer today. And his life was very troubled. I did watch the documentary like a couple years ago, the Made in America one, just kind of seeing like how he went about things from college and all that, and how he didn't see color, kind of gave you a perspective like, oh, okay, yeah, this nigga loopy. So I it just kind of shocked me because it's like we're now at that age where people that we have seen on TV when we were younger have started to like really transition on to the next phase of life. And it's just kind of crazy. It's just like, dang, like honestly, I didn't even realize that he was like 76. I thought he was still like maybe late 60s or whatever, but you know, prayers to well, let me word that correctly. You know what? Do I want to put the warning on the front of this? Nah, we did a lot last time. What I said in our brother's group chat, I was gonna say, but nope. We just gonna we just gonna leave that one alone.
Even
Nah.
though he done went to the big gridiron in the sky, yeah, we don't need that bad juju in our life.
You know what? Good point. Good point. Yeah, I don't need that bad juju. So Chiefs wide receiver, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rashee Rice had to turn himself in to authorities because of drag racing. Well, not drag racing, but just racing. He was in Dallas and was on a highway. Which I'm thinking I'm trying to remember if he was racing a Corvette, but he was driving and racing a Corvette on a major highway and apparently lost control of his Lamborghini and caused a 6-car accident on the highway. The issue is he left his vehicle and him and all his boys that were in that vehicle were walking away. Now, I would be looking at him kind of sideways, like, why are you walking away from the accident? Until I realized the nigga had guns in the car.
Oh, you trying to be a dumbass fast.
Like, okay. Did we not learn from Henry Ruggs? Bruh, like this is legitimately Henry Ruggs all over again. The only difference is you didn't hit a pedestrian. You hit cars, which I don't think there's anybody that passed from this crash. I think there's people that had to go to the hospital. But it's just the fact that, bruh, like what? Why? You have a Super Bowl ring. You should be embracing the fact that you have a Super Bowl ring. Why are you racing in broad daylight in Dallas? I have questions. I don't was the weed that good? I need whatever. So now the thing is, I don't know if they're going to convict him because he is a sports player, and like we'll hear like all the evidence point to the fact that he should be convicted, but then it'll be like, oh, well, we're only going to charge him for 30 days and then he's out. So I don't know, but all I know is you a dumbass. Stephon Diggs actually was traded from the Bills to the Houston Texans. I'm sorry, me, Brother X, and Drewski were like, whoa.
hey, call up a certain establishment. Diggs gonna be digging in something else.
Hey, I see what you did there.
I'm sure he's a very respectable family man. I don't know his life. I don't know his children, or if he has children.
I mean,
but the lemon pepper wet wings though.
Hey, listen, them lemon pepper wet wings and their drinks are pretty decently priced too. I think the last time we went there, they were only like $7-8. Oh yeah. Them joints was fire. That was actually like I wouldn't mind going back to that place because that was actually a chill establishment. But we're gonna stay on task.
We're just gonna move on and brush our teeth.
Yeah. I hate you. I hate you so much.
Jokes.
I so hate you for that. And the fact that she said that multiple times, like, God dang it, I don't like you. All right. So yeah, Houston is going to be a problem this year. Like,
yeah,
they have retooled in a way that is unlike anybody else. You already have your franchise quarterback at CJ Stroud, who did amazingly well for a rookie season. You've upgraded your running back room to include Joe Mixon. You now have Stephon Diggs as your number one wide receiver, along with Nico Collins and Tank Dell, who are coming back for some superb sophomore. Dog, that offense is scary. And then your defense is already scary enough as it is. So, yeah, Houston looks like they about to take over as the favorite in Texas. Sorry, Dallas Cowboys. I don't know what y'all gonna do about that, but neither here nor there. To the NBA.
Hey, we them boys.
Well, yeah. To the NBA, I ain't gonna hold on this one. Lakers and Warriors pretty much gonna be a play-in, and me and Brother X's team go out to fight for just to even get a chance to go to the AC, which is crazy. I just
to face the Denver Nuggets in the first round.
But I'm like, y'all had one job. All you had to do was get to a position to where you don't have to face the Nuggets. I'm comfortable with the Lakers going up against any team in the West except the Nuggets and kind of the Sacramento Kings, but specifically the Nuggets. And now we got to go against Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Draymond Green probably might fuck that up for y'all. And then,
well, no, I'm gonna stand on business. I until he proves me otherwise, he got one more in him. He got that itch again, but he got one more in him. He did well because when that motherfucker was shooting, he put the book bag back on when he played y'all the other night.
He did.
Nigga was 5 or 7 for 3. Never
something like that. Yeah, but
watch him go 0 of 20 for the next 2 weeks.
So yeah, if any of us survive and we end up going, we have to go up against the Denver Nuggets. So, am I confident? Absolutely not. Unless
I am a dude in a light skin, AKA's inbox. I ain't got no shot.
Wow.
Wow. The only way that something could work for us is injuries for the Denver Nuggets. That's about it. Outside of that, I don't see it.
Does Jokic still race horses? As long as he got horses, ain't nobody fucking with him.
Yeah, you're right. And then lastly, the NCAA for March Madness. I'm honestly only going to talk about the women's side because the men's side was, UConn ended up being the back-to-back champion, so whatever. But for women's college basketball, things are I am really, really impressed with the women's side because I literally am looking at them have these stars that have personalities and edge. And I understand when people always talk about the fact that it's like, oh, as a woman, you're supposed to hold yourself a certain way and blah, 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 whatever. Not in this case. I want them to talk some serious smack and get in each other's faces and obviously keep it to a level where it makes sense. But that is great. Great, great, great. So we have stars that are coming up, bona fide stars like Paige Buckets, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Juju Watkins, and Camila Cardozo. And so the Final Four was set. LSU ended up losing to Iowa in the revenge game. And granted, Haley Van Leaf got torched by Caitlin Clark. Caitlin turned into Steph Curry 2015. I ain't gonna lie. She pulled it.
No, that is like the MVP, like regular season Curry 2016.
Yeah. She's literally going around the screen and she's like, oh, you give me this much space? Mind you, she's maybe, I want to say at least 6 feet from the 3-point line, and she's pulling like it's nobody's business and dropping them O's. That joint was crazy. So of course, Iowa went up against UConn and NC State went up against South Carolina. I'm gonna call it like I see it. UConn got screwed. Okay.
Oh, most definitely.
UConn got screwed because now, in the technical definition, was it a moving screen? Yes. Do you make that call with 4 seconds left in the game? No. You let that shit play out unless the girl throws the elbow a little bit harder to where it's like really egregious. You don't make that call. She slid into position. She made the screen. That was not a moving screen. Not one that should be called. So UConn ended up losing to Iowa in the Final Four game. I think it was like 71-69. South Carolina rolled over NC State. Like, it wasn't even close. I was like, damn. Again, what did I say last time? Dawn, what do you have these ladies doing? Because you are like steamrolling everybody. But speaking of Dawn,
niggas. They play niggas to scrimmage.
that is true. They really do play niggas to scrimmage. But speaking of Dawn Stanley, shout out to her for having a sense of humor and using her platform to start off her press conference with this quote, which I find to be extremely hilarious.
Right? I have a brief question, because you guys are writers, right? I just posted a tweet, and we had a long discussion in our coaches meeting. So our players were in the locker room, lying or laying down. Lying? You sure? So I told our coaches, someone taught me you lie to get laid, right? Sorry. So excited to be here.
Shout out to Dawn. That is quality comedy right there. So we go into the final game and South Carolina versus Iowa. Camila Cardozo's final game as an in the NCAA versus Caitlin Clark's final college game. Caitlin Clark got running in that first half, and she started shooting. She shot the lights out in the first half. And then Raven Johnson said, "All right, that'll be all." And when I tell you Raven Johnson clamped, you're muted.
The ancestors called upon high, was like, child, you are not about to embarrass me. Oh no, you better get it right before you don't come home.
Yeah, the fact that Raven Johnson was the same person that Caitlin Clark literally like backed off on the 3-point line, was like, I ain't worried about her shooting. And listeners, for anybody who's not Black listening, that is the most disrespectful thing you can do on a basketball court. Is literally, without saying words, say, I'm not worried about your jump shot. I'm literally getting ready to do the rebound. That was what Caitlin Clark did to Raven Johnson last year. When I tell you Raven Johnson turned on the mantra Michael Jordan said, and I took that personally and locked her up the entire second half, yeah, to the point where she plucked Caitlin I want to count at least 3 times during that game. Like, Caitlin's just trying to move the ball up the court. And as soon as she gets past that half court, plucked. I was like, ooh, Raven ain't playing at all. And so South Carolina ended up beating Iowa and getting a perfect 38-0 to secure their 3rd championship in like 4 years, I think, or 5 years, something like that. So it's like, Dawn, keep doing what you're doing. I ain't gonna lie. I wanted it to be South Carolina versus UConn, to be kind of like the matchup of the coaches, Gino versus Dawn. But this will suffice. All Black people around the world was like, yes. Caitlin, we have no beef with you, but your reign stops here. Now please go on to the WNBA so that people like Diana Taurasi and Brianna Stewie and Sabrina Nesco can be like,
Oh no, wait. You're not gonna talk about, you can't forget about the I think it's back-to-back champ, Las Vegas Aces, Aja Wilson.
Oh yeah. Oh, see, but the thing is, Aja's a center, power forward center. Caitlin's gonna be a guard, so it's not like you're gonna be able to see her unless she goes in the paint. If she goes in the paint,
oh yeah,
good luck.
Oh no, it's gonna be a bad time for everybody.
It's gonna be that. But shout out to all the people that have declared for the WNBA draft. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Camila Cardozo. The only thing that's kind of jacked up about it is like you literally had the quickest turnaround I've ever heard in my life. Like literally, you went from the national championship to, hey, the WNBA draft's like 5 days. Like, wait, hold on, what?
Like, nigga, I didn't even move my tassel across my cap.
Like, damn, you legitimately turned around from the NCAA championship and be like, okay, now you got workouts for WNBA. I mean, granted, yes, unfortunately, the WNBA only plays in the summer, so the draft would have to be now. But damn. But that's neither here nor there. But that's it for this week's sport, or for this episode of Sports Center. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or you want to learn more about the NFL, hit up my boy Red Wolf on his YouTube and his Instagram. His links will be in the description below.
Plenty of the music. All right, listeners, you know what time it is. Last episode, me and Mr. Smith had a very big discussion about Kendrick's verse on Like That on Future and Metro Boomin's new album, which at the time of this recording, I don't think it's a second part, but another album that they're dropping comes out at midnight. Future and Metro Boomin. So who knows? We might, by the time we record this might be a response for certain things. But we'll get into that in a moment. So we said in the last episode that J. Cole, this is your opportunity. You was talking mighty shit about Feed Me Beats, all this stuff. And you got called out. You caught a stray. Let's make sure that we talk openly and honestly. We truthful and transparent in here. He caught a stray was sent his way on Like That about fuck the big three, it's just the big me.
Mm-hmm.
And we all looked at you like, so what you gonna do about it? And true to form, the past few Dreamville festivals, which we'll get into part 2 of this discussion, you decide about 72 hours before you perform at Dreamville Fest, you decide to drop, I think he called it an EP, but I guess maybe it's a mixtape. We're not gonna call it a fucking playlist. We're not gonna do that. We're not.
Hey yo,
we're not about to call it a live playlist. No, that's just not what we're doing. All the same, he dropped some music. We'll call it an EP. He dropped about 12 songs for what he labeled as "Might Delete Later." Which, if you have been paying attention to his social media and lead up to the Dreamville Festival, he had dropped 2 vlogs with snippets of different songs and different things, people who he had been in the studio with for his whatever it's going to drop, the Fallout album, which is said to be his last album that he's going to put out. His words, not ours. But yeah, so he just kind of came out there. And listeners, here's the crazy part. I went to bed almost like 11, close to midnight on Thursday before Dreamville Fest. And all I got was in the group chat with me, Mr. Smith, and Drewski, a screenshot of Might Delete Later with a track list. I said, I'm sorry, say what now? He did what?
Listeners, he's not lying.
Dog, I was up for another 20 minutes because I was like, hold on, wait a minute. Let me go to iTunes. Let me go ahead and find this. So I literally was just like, you know what? I want to see what happens. So I shout out to Chaotic Culture Podcast. I'd send him a DM with like the screenshot. I'm like, so I was looking at what's this? And then I went to sleep. Listeners, when I tell you I woke up to war zone first thing in the morning on Friday. Because I was like, oh yeah, my Delete Later came on. Oh, he came back at Kendrick. And I was like, oh my God, this is happening. Oh my God, he really did respond back. I mean, I expected him to say something, but it was like, no, he did like a full song to diss back. I'm like, okay. You had my interest. Now I'm intrigued. Where's this gonna go? So, of course, like I do with certain things, I'm like, I'm gonna go to that one song. Fuck all the other songs, which we'll get back to. Mr. Smith, go ahead.
I'm just mad that you really did pull a Jake Law that you Leonardo DiCaprio with the lemonade talking about something. You have my curiosity. Now you have my attention.
Right. And I'm just like, really? This is what we're doing. I'm like, I knew he was going to say something maybe because Dreamville, or maybe waiting until during the festival to say something. I don't know how he was going to go about it. But listeners, how I feel about it versus the quality of it, he referred to it, and we'll get further into it later. He referred to it as trying to like verbally jab him, trying to find a spot, through a jab with no like. he had intentions of trying, like, yeah, I want the shit to sting a little bit. We not like play tap, like slap him, like, dude, get out my face. He was like, bow. And then, you know, as the internet does, the shit went left. And I've literally, dog, people hitting me up, like, shout out to my cousin Nas, hit me up, was like, yo, you see that? What do you feel about the diss? I'm like, I don't know, man. Dog, I feel like I was like on Sports Center, I'm getting interviewed before like a post game. I'm like, dog, I know I am the resident J. Cole person, but dog, I didn't know how I felt. But we'll come back to that. But I want to first get the positive out of the way. Besides 7 Minute Drill, which was the diss track, the rest of this EP, I'm not gonna say it counteracts the diss and everything else, but boy, when I go down this list right now and I'm looking at all the songs, like first and foremost, Pricey, you know, you got Ari on the hook. Woo! That's a little bop right there. Crocodile Tears, they played a little bit in the vlog, so it was fire track. Like, you knew that track was coming. The first one that really got me, that I had to run back from the beginning, was Ready 24. I'm assuming it's 2024, featuring Cameron. Dog, I don't know if I need a mixtape or an album, but him, J. Cole, and Cameron together, I need more of it. Because it gives, like, I love the energy that they just feed off each other. Like, you just, like, in a way, it's almost like he's J. Cole's hype man, but it's like weird because like J. Cole will throw stuff and he'll do his verse. Cameron will come back and give it, like, amplify it, like it like takes it to a whole nother level. But one of the other ones that I've replayed back a lot, Hunting Wabbits. Woo! Like you can start telling, like, oh yeah, no, he's really getting into his bag with what he's saying and like the beats and everything. Dog, you know, I had to talk about HYB with Boz. Wildin'. Like that is such a vibe. But let me not take all the shot. Mr. Smith, before I go any further with the song list, did you have any thoughts real quick?
So, like he said, listeners, Brother Drewski hit us up and said, hey guys, here. It was like, oh, well, I did just like Brother X did. Let me go ahead, download this. At this point, I think this was previous Thursday. So I was getting ready for some work stuff I needed to finish. So I went to sleep. And I have this thing about listening to bodies of work. If I'm going to give it the listen that it deserves, right? I need to make sure I am in a mindset, in a location where I am not distracted. Because if I'm distracted, I may miss a bar, I may miss a lyric, I may miss a word. So I was like, you know what? Let me get my work done first, and then I'm gonna go ahead and start listening while I'm, doing just small things around the house, like cleaning up, because at that point I had finished my work. Pricey. Brother X can say what he want, but Pricey caught me off guard immediately, because as soon as he said, climbed up out the trenches as a shorty with intentions to switch my whip as much as Rick and Morty switched dimensions. Never really known for dressing gaudy, bitch. Because listen, where I'm from, the bullets feed the ones that starving for attention. I said, hold the fuck up. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
It was like, dog, he jumped into his bag like, this nigga. Oh my goodness.
I said, wait a minute. Hold on, nigga. You didn't even take the warm-up off yet. You literally just was like, yeah, fuck this warm-up. We going right on in, like, first song, right? Okay. So again, because I'm able to like do my chores around the house if I was working from home that day, and I'm listening to, I'm hearing it. I think I had to rewind Pricey 3 times because I couldn't even get to Ari's part. I was just like, yo, these are bars. So like Brother X said, from there, then you had Crocodile Tears, like we said, we heard about it. We heard the snippet on YouTube. And then Ready 24, yeah, that shit was fire. My two was Hunting Wabbits and Pie. Pie with Daylight and Ab-Soul. I was like, damn, that is a throwback. Because if you guys ever listen to Ab-Soul's album, I believe it's called Better Days. Ab-Soul has the last track turns into a underground rap league type of like back and forth between Absol and Daylight, and that shit's funny as hell. But just the fact that both of them on the song, and that I ain't gonna lie, that song slid. I was like, okay, okay. So as I'm listening to all of this, and of course I'll let Brother X, as the resident J. Cole fan, he can definitely give more insight. But for me, I'm not a resident J. Cole or resident Kendrick or resident, whatever. Like I just love good music. And this was good music. It didn't keep you long. It was 12 tracks of just bars. And that is all, as a person of our age, that's all we want. And I don't need the gimmicks. I don't need like the he gave us heat. This is what I was looking for. I think there's probably only one song, maybe two, that I might skip on here. But if it's only one song, I call that a win. This makes it.
It is. If you were to tell me this is like, yeah, this is his next album, I'm like, oh no, you gave me what I needed. Like, I don't need 100 songs. Chris Brown, we're looking at you. Drake, we're looking at your live.
I'm gonna say Drake.
It was one of those things where you gave me what I needed. It didn't sound like you were scared to run up on the mic. You kept doing your thing. You gave me the quality, you gave me the production, you gave me that braggadocious. Like, you kept the same energy for the most part. Mm-hmm. You kept the same energy for where you have been on for like the last 2-3 years with your music. And like, I won't say he was in his Lil Wayne bag, but it's one of those, I'm unleashing and I'm just going to leave it all out on the court, because when I'm done, I'm done. And I don't want to leave anything left in the holster. So, yeah, to get back to 7-minute drill, I guess we can go ahead and get into the lyrics that really like caught people's attention. Mr. Smith, do you mind pulling that up, or do you have it pulled up?
So
go ahead.
So the first one that I saw that stuck out to me was the one that everyone says, I came up in the Ville, so I'm good when it's tension. He's still doing shows, but fell off like The Simpsons. Your first shit was classic. Your last shit was tragic. Your second shit put niggas to sleep, but they gassed it. Your third shit was massive, and that was your prime. I was trailing right behind, and I just now hit mine. Now in front of the line with a comfortable lead. How ironic. As soon as I got it, now he wants something with me. I see where you were going with that.
I'm about to say, you are making a very strong claim when you say that. Like, just like, this is not, we're talking to Cole now. It's like, when you say this, understand you make some big proclamations. I don't know if this is accurate, but what comes to mind is the analogy of when the big three for Miami came together and they made the claim of not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, that whole claim, where it's like, okay, it sounds like you ready for the smoke to come along with it. Mm-hmm. So when it comes, don't run up the chimney. Stand there and fight the fire. Go ahead.
So within that, I sat back and I had to listen to it, and then I stopped and I said, okay, your first shit was classic. Good Kid, Mad City. Of course, yes. Your last shit was tragic. Mr. Morale, the Big Stepper. I'm not going to call it tragic. I'm going to call that was therapy in the form of an album. That was literally what the album was. It was to me, that album was the equivalent of For Your Eyes Only in his discography. Not everybody's going to go to it. It's solid. It can go back to. Obviously, it's not going to be the number one thing that everyone goes to, but I could still replay it. Now, of course, this is my mindset. Your second shit put niggas to sleep, but they gassed it. Your second shit was To Pimp a Butterfly. No, it did not put me to sleep. No.
I'm going to chime in as a resident Cole fan. I'm going to say, when I heard that, I was like, I kept feeling, so I'm like, I love To Pimp a Butterfly. Yeah. I love it to this day. I have so much replay value in it. One of my favorite songs from Kendrick is These Walls Could Talk. Still one of my favorite songs off the album. So when you said that, I'm like, okay, you reaching, but you're in beef, so you're trying I know that people who are in beef in fights, you're gonna make like over the top claims, and not everything that. If you're looking for everything to be 100% accurate, go listen to Pusha T and Drake. Pusha T was very accurate in his claims.
He was.
Bullied that nigga into being Dad of the Year. But we're not talking about that. So, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm like you. I'm like, that shit did not put me to sleep. I'm sorry. Institutionalized was a vibe. Yes. You, granted, you is very.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, but when you have those days where you just need to scream, that song actually works. All Right, come on. All Right is like the anthem for folks when they're trying to get through some things. Like, then from there, For Sale is a bomb interlude. And then Hood Politics? That nigga was spitting on Hood Politics. Yes. How much does $1 cost? You could literally envision everything this man was doing. No. So, yeah, I can't give you that one. And then your third shit was Massive, and that was your prime. That would have been damn. I don't know if that was his prime. I feel like you could make a claim for that, but honestly, Kendrick is weird. He doesn't really have a prime because all of his albums are different.
It's very much a consistent, like, you knew what you were getting. Like, yes, he had Section 80, you had Overly Dedicated, you had Training Day. I know I said them out of order, but you get the point. Like, he had some stuff, but when he dropped, he hit the ground running. Like, it was even different from Drake, where it's like, yeah, Drake was like, he still had his moments where like, okay, he might have gotten a Grammy off of Mixtape, but he was still, Aubrey Graham from Degrassi. Mm-hmm. He was still like, he was an actor turned rapper. So you never really like gave him like, he's like a legitimate hip hop artist rapper. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's cool, but K-Dot, when he took off, he didn't just run. Motherfucker sprinted like Usain Bolt and only slowed down because he wanted to enrich his life and make himself a better person. So that one piece is where I'm like, if we were to scale it, grade it on, if we give it a grade, like say for example from 1 to 5 on willingness to come to bat, J. Cole gets 5 out of 5. His willingness to actually engage in the beef. Mm-hmm. Then if we were to talk about the timing of it, I'm gonna knock him just a little bit. Yes, he was on tour, but this, you probably have had feelers that had an idea this is probably coming out at some point. So I'm gonna give him like a 3.5 because could he have responded a little bit sooner? Yeah. What I honestly think was this whole EP was meant to be 11 songs and it ended up being 12 because that first drop when it did.
I agree with that.
So I take points off because I'm like, if you were really ready for war, you would have hopped in the booth immediately. All right, I'm gonna spit some shit. Give me some, I'm gonna spit it. Now, granted, he might have done that immediately, but the time is released, Mm-hmm. Then finally, the content of said, I'll say the content of said song, I'm gonna have to give it, let me be fair, I would have to give it like a 2.5 out of 5, maybe 3 if I'm being generous, because he had other bars, but there's one part where it's like, if this is supposed to be your like real punch, your real jab to like bow, hit him in the mouth, it hit him. The shit probably just grazed him a little bit. It was one of those, like he did the bow, got hit in the face. Okay, interesting. When a nigga says interesting, when you hit him square in the face, yeah, nah, it didn't do what you wanted to do.
No,
at least it came off as.
It's the first Avengers movie where Hulk gets manipulated. Mm-hmm. Or is that the first Avengers movie? Maybe that's the second.
Yeah, that's the second one. Yeah,
that's the second one. Sorry, Age of Ultron. When Hulk gets manipulated and Tony Stark got to get the Hulk Buster suit, he punches Hulk in the face, and Hulk turns his head, smiles, and spits blood out. Tony Stark says, "I'm sorry." That's what this was to be, right? So then the other part that I took from this was He averaging one hard verse like every 30 months or something. If he wasn't dissing them, we wouldn't be discussing them. Nah, nigga, no, 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 no. I mean, we understand Kendrick. Kendrick, like you, doesn't put out projects every year like Drake. And so it is kind of the epitome with both of y'all where it's something to look forward to. Like Drake, like we said, Drake is going to give us the same shit every single project. He doesn't have any emotional like content that he could put into a song unless he's broken up with some stripper from Magic City or Onyx or Starlet or whatever.
Right.
But you guys have content that as listeners we can feel. And shout out to Dormtainment. And even though he's no longer hasn't been a part of Dormtainment for a long time, shout out to Tay, because Tay kind of like really in one of the skits, he said music is the soul. It gives you the passion that you want to grab the artist. I want to work with people that they put content that we can feel. When Kendrick and J. Cole put music out, you feel their music. Like I said, this entire and for the record, it is a mixtape. I looked it up.
Okay.
This entire mixtape, bars, like shit was awesome. But this diss track was like, I kind of feel like it was a straight left that kind of hit, but kind of didn't. I don't know. It just didn't hit the way I wanted to. I mean, again, we understand that is like you guys don't have really any bad blood, which we'll get into a little bit later.
Right.
But it just kind of didn't have that same oomph, right? And not even to say like Kendrick's had a lot of oomph too. Kendrick had that line that wasn't like mad disrespectful, but it just said, he called out the song, so he knew he was talking about both of y'all. And then he said, nigga, fuck the big three. It's just big me. And then he said, and your last shit was a light pat. Nigga, Prince outlived Mike Jack. That wasn't even towards you. That was towards Drake. We all know that.
Right. Like, we knew what it was.
Drake got lit up like, like Denzel at the end of Training Day. He got lit the hell up in that damn
Yeah, very much so.
But yeah, so then the last thing, and then I'll kick it back to Brother X. I'm hesitant. I love my brother, but I'm not gonna lie. I'm powered up for real. This shit would feel like I'm swatting a fly. 4 albums in 12 years, nigga. I can divide. Shit, if this is what you want, I'm indulging in violence. Put pictures in my home in the chrome at your eyelids. Okay. So you said he did 4 albums in 12 years. That's what? 3 years or 3 years every album?
Roughly 3 years, yeah.
Which means, and even like literally, okay. And like it means that we're gonna feel something.
That was one of the less lines where I'm like, because if you really look at it, J. Cole, I'm gonna need you to come to the front, sir. You did the exact same thing as Kendrick. Your timeline of your albums and when you drop stuff is roughly about the same amount if you really go and look at it. So it's like, okay, again, one of those, like I know what you're doing. You're trying to find a way. Like it feels very forced. Is what it feels like. And I know we keep alluding to. We'll get to. But I promise we'll get to it in a second. But it definitely feels very forced. Where it's like, okay, I see what you're trying to do. All that. One point I want to bring up was the whole concept of a 7-minute drill. I forget if this was a military term or just something that he does as a rapper, as a writer for his music, where he tells whoever's producing for him to give him a beat and he'll write for like 7 minutes and then he'll just go. Whatever he gets down and puts down in 7 minutes, he just goes and says it. And it's just like a way to kind of practice his craft to be able to get comfortable spitting and knocking. So in his head about getting this exact word and rhyme scheme and this one part of the song right, just paper, pen, action. And it can, when I started looking at it from that perspective, I was like, okay, I can see why it feels weird to me and it feels slightly forced because it's like, it sounds like you heard outside noise and you were like, I gotta say something because I done been this big braggadocious, I done talked all this shit. I gotta stand on business with what I said. So once he did that, it was like, okay, it's out there, and then they put it on there, which I get it, and it's understandable in and of itself. But I wish if you're going to do it, don't release it with my delete later. Make his own thing, take a little bit more time. If you have already taken almost 2 weeks to respond, what's a couple more days to kind of amplify it? I know you were just on tour and you got Dreamville Fest and you had a lot on your plate. But if you're going to come correct like you do with all your other music. Give the disc the same time and commitment that you would any other song that you write. Because if you say, if I had got beef with a nigga, it's going to be legit, I'm not going to miss all this stuff, then give it the time that it needs. This was like half-baked, if anything. Like, the shit was kind of like lukewarm food in the microwave. Like, it got cold spots. Like overall, it's like, yeah, if I had to eat it, like I'm struggling, I'm going to eat it. But I'm not going to fully enjoy it the way I would if I know it's like fully cooked.
It's the fact that you said it had cold spots. I'm weak.
I'm about to say, if you don't know the cold spots in some food after they microwave some stuff, you ain't in the trenches. I don't know what you're talking about.
That was funny.
We say all this to say, fast forward to this past weekend with Dreamville Fest. Granted, listeners, you want to know myself, coach and scientist experience as well as Nurse Joy, who joined us, our experience. We'll highlight that in another episode. But Sunday rolls around and there's kind of like almost an anticipation in the air of J. Cole performed. He's the headliner. He's going to close out. And literally, it's one of those things where he opens up, he's playing his music. Then he gets through a lot of performances. He had like a bunch of people who came out and performed. I'll talk more about that in the part 2. But there's a point in the performance where he stops and he starts to have this monologue with the people there. We don't have a word for word. Maybe we'll play it in post. We'll add it in post, maybe. But basically, he says to the effect that when he started, after he dropped the mixtape and all the reaction came with like 7-minute drill and all this stuff came out, he had a very vulnerable moment with the people at the festival where it's like the shit didn't sit right in his spirit. And he was very transparent, said like how he felt like the peer pressure, man, nigga, this is war. Like, I want to see blood, all that stuff. And it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, shout out to RDC World, where it's like, I mean, I guess it's kind of cool. I mean, I guess I got to do it. I guess. Yes. But it's one of the things where it's like, I didn't really feel right with it. And I'm like, I was trying, like, he explains, like, I'm trying to find a jab and like try to go at him. And what I meant, what my intent was and how it came out didn't align with who I was trying to be. And he said where he came with 7-minute drill was where he was at, like back when he did 2014 Forest Field Drive. So it's one of those things where he's like, it didn't feel right to him, it didn't align in his spirit. And he ended up giving like apologizing and giving kudos and props and giving flowers to Kendrick and showing him love. And I would say that people there, obviously, there's probably jaded a little bit, not jaded, slanted, because it's his festival. People like want to support him. They're his fans. But there's a very positive, from what I could hear, reaction. Now, granted, was I thinking about that shit 2-3 days later? Yes. Was I conflicted? Was I sitting there hearing Kendrick's voice saying, ah? Yes, I was. I had to kind of detox from J. Cole music for a minute to really figure out where I felt about the situation. Now, the real part, and this is probably the last part of the discussion, is the whole rap beef versus being true to who you are and being honest with yourself. If I were to give my initial thoughts, and I'll let Mr. Smith go after this, if I were to give my initial thoughts, I'm like, is there a part of me that wished he had stood on it? Yes. Whether or not I liked the diss or not, stand by your work. You are very proud of your craft. You put a lot of time and effort into it. Stand on it. You can still say the same thing where it's like, hey, if Kendrick feels some type of way and he has a response and I just got to take it on the chin, say that. Like, make your apology, stand on it. Like, hey, I put this out. I'm not going to do this is what happened, comma, but this happened, period. End the statement. Let it be what's going to be. Then you can go, if he has a response, I take it on the chin. It is what it is. It's hip hop. I know what I've signed myself up for. Granted, I'm not going to be able to speak the way that he may be able to speak, but listeners, hope you get the idea. So is that versus a man who's almost 40? Shout out to RDC World and talking about LeBron James. Nigga, I'm almost 40. But it's one of those things where it's like, it takes a lot of bravery on your own platform, which kind of gives it a soft landing, but we're nitpicking at that point. It speaks to who he is as a person. And I would say him being confident enough to be like, yeah, I'm going to take a hit on this. Yeah, I know my boys are probably like, don't do it. We ready for war and all this other stuff. To be able to say, nah, this didn't align with my spirit. I didn't feel right. I wasn't sleeping well over the next couple of days after I dropped it. It takes a mature, emotionally intelligent person to be like, no, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't sit right. And fuck what everybody else thinks. I need to get this shit off my chest so that I'm in tune with who I am. So if I were to grade it again, apologizing, yeah, I'm probably give it a 1 from a selfish standpoint where I'm like, nah, we trying to, from a fan standpoint, it's like, man, I need you. You can't do this. I'm trying to defend myself. I'm fighting in these streets. But from a standpoint of being in tune with your star player and owning what you need to own and being comfortable in your own skin, I give him a 5 out of 5. So yes, it's opposite ends of the spectrum, but that's really how someone who you really care about, you're going to be conflicted on things. Mr. Smith, what are your thoughts?
So I, of course, saw the clip of him doing the apology on Twitter. It was all over everywhere within like an hour of him doing it. And like you said, when I look at other beefs like NWA versus Ice Cube or I can't remember the dude's name, but he was on 4321. Because I know he went up against LL Cool J, and LL Cool J had like beefs with like several. No, KRS-One, that was the bridge is over. I remember that one. Okay. But even still, just that point, like the beast then outside of course, hit him up in no Vaseline was bars. Like, it had a jab to a jab here, hit here, like, oh, that's a bar, whatever. Now hit him up. That was disrespectful. That when you start off with, that's why I fucked your bitch, nigga. Like, whoa, whoa.
That is
like, whoa, okay. And then you said, first off, fuck your bitch and the click you claim. West Side, we ride, come and quit with game. You claim to be a player, but I effed your wife. We bust on bad boys, niggas. Fuck for life. Okay, Tupac. I think we need to have a conversation, sir. Who hurt you? But in this case, like as I said in the previous episode, if you're a wrestling fan, this is Attitude Era, The Rock versus Stone Cold. You like both of them. You love both of them. You just want a good match. There's no like storyline or, oh, I hate this person because he threw the belt over the bridge or threw, Stone Cold over the bridge or whatever. Like it just literally was like, hey, let's have kind of like a friendly sparring match, like an exhibition. And at the end of the day, it's almost like, to me, it's sad as it's gonna sound, it's like niggas fighting in high school. Niggas didn't really hate each other. But in that one moment, it was like, nah, I don't like you. Let's go in the bathroom and throw hands real quick. And then after 3 minutes or 2 minutes or whatever, All right, dog, you got me. All right, dap it up, keep it on pushing. Of course, this
Okay,
is back.
yeah.
This is back then. Nigga, shoot now. So it's neither here nor there. But like I wasn't expecting it to be like a hit him up or no Vaseline, but I was expecting a good thing, a good little back and forth. And so when I heard the 7-minute drill, I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then I hear him on stage and he's like, that's the lamest thing I've ever done. And I didn't sleep well. I felt conflicted. Like people hitting my phone. I'm talking about it's wartime, nigga. Like it's time to get in the booth. And I'm like, Brother X, the selfish side of me is like, oh, I wanted it to be a back and forth, just one more song apiece. One more song apiece, and I'm good. But the 36-year-old me is like, nah, I understand exactly what this nigga is saying. Do I fully agree with it? No, that's also because I'm selfish. But if it's messing with your peace, then you don't want to do it. And let's remember, listeners, J. Cole is not a Drake or a Lil Wayne or a Meek Mill, whatever, right? Like when you think of Drake and you think of Meek Mill and the rest of you think of them pulling up in the Aston Martins and the Maybachs and jewelry all over the place and all right, we going to the strip club, bad bitches, this, blah, blah, whatever. I distinctly remember J. Cole on his 2014 Forest Hills Drive biking through New York.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about somebody that is worth a large amount of money. I don't know if I can call him a millionaire at that point or not. I'm not sure. I would think he was, but I know afterwards he was.
Oh, definitely after. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely after. But I'm saying I didn't know if he was there yet. But even still, the man had money clearly that he could have used, but he was just like your everyday citizen, almost like a Keith Lee. I'm here just to provide for the people. I will bike through and still be a normal individual, just like everybody else biking through New York. And this person is the person that we're expecting to have all these diss tracks. Now, again, the selfish me is like, nigga, like Brother X said, nigga, you said feed you beats. Kendrick said challenge. What you going?
Like he pulled up, was like, "What's really good?" It's like, see, when I said that, I got to check it in the savings account, and the way I gotta move from money from my. I'm sorry.
No, but at the same time, let's also remember, listeners, these are when Hit 'Em Up and that came out, Tupac was what? 24, 23. Like, he died early. And Biggie even though it wasn't technically a diss to him, but because the song was recorded prior to Tupac getting shot with Who Shot Ya, yeah, but Biggie was also like 24, 25. So they're still young. They're still in that, hey man, I'm gonna go after you.
Right.
As you get older, I've said this all the time, and me and Teacher Bay always have these conversations where we talk about just our normal conversations or just like the differences of men and women in thinking. And the main thing I always say for men is, which is kind of like a deeper conversation. I'm not gonna go too much in my soapbox, but you could take any man in the world, LeBron James, Steph Curry, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, whatever. You can have all the money in the world. You can have all the riches in the world, whatever. Don't mean shit if you ain't got peace in your house.
Message.
Exactly.
It don't mean nothing if you don't have peace in your heart. You will never feel fulfilled. Why do you think Diddy's going through all this stuff right now? Because he ain't never had peace in his heart. And now there was a joke.
And now he's Carmen Sandiego is what he is.
Now, there was another joke that I was ready to like throw the jab, and I was like, nah, I'm doing good. I don't want to put the disclaimer up yet. No. But a man, all men want in this life is just peace of mind. To be able to come home, especially a black man, to be able to come home from what the world deems you as or whatever, and just have peace in your fortress of solitude in your house. If you know J. Cole and you followed him from, Born Center, 2014 Forest Hills Drive, For Your Eyes Only, KOD, the off season, like the man lives what he raps and you can feel it. You feel it in his passion, but he's the type that's almost similar to almost similar to the mindset of a lot of athletes now, or a lot of people now. I get in, I do my job, I leave. That's it. I ain't trying to fight. I ain't trying to do all this extra. Look, I'm here to do this, and I'm out because I can have my peace at home. So I'm not, I wasn't too mad at the fact that it's like, you know what? I'm not even mad at it because you're 39. At 39, especially in ladies, I want you to hear me out when I say this. Pretty much all men. I'm gonna speak for them all. When you get in your 30s, especially for me, when you hit your mid 30s, I don't give a damn who, what, when. If it ain't affecting my pockets or my peace, I don't care. Because at the end of the day, that's all that we have in this crazy world with everything that we've gone through, coronavirus, 9/11, wars, recession, all of that. Like, we've been through so much that all I want in my life is peace of mind. That's it. And that's all that J. Cole wants. He wants to be able to spit his bars and have his peace of mind, go be a family man, go be a father, and then go on tour. And, as a man, I have to respect him for that because it's like, it took guts for you to be able to go up there and say, man, that's the lamest shit I've ever done in my life. Like, you know what? Nah, I ain't fucking with that. And I'm like, you know what? It took some confidence.
It takes as much as it takes bravery to hop in the beef. It also takes a lot of bravery to be like, you know what? This ain't it. Oh, nigga, you scared. You ain't gonna fight. Nigga, no. I'm gonna wake up in the morning, my back gonna hurt, my knees gonna hurt. I'm gonna have to ice my shit down. I ain't gonna do nothing for 2 or 3 days. My girl gonna look at you like, oh, you thought you was young, huh? All that shit. All that shit is like, oh, you thought you could run with the young boys. Sit your ass down. Like, go home and be a family man in the most respectful way possible. And he was like, yeah, I'm gonna go home and be a family man. Yes, I rap. Yes, I got beats. Yes, I got bars. All that.
Yeah.
But home is more important.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not mad at it. Like Brother X said, from a beef perspective, definitely a 1 because I feel like you could have Kendrick would have responded with a song, you would have responded with a song, and then we could have deaded it right there. But from a man's perspective, definitely a 5 because the confidence and maturity and therapy to be able to say, this don't do nothing for me. Like, at the end of the day,
what am I getting out of this?
And even you called it, Brother X. You said Drake can only gain so much, but he doesn't have much to lose. Drake has all to lose and not much to gain. And Kendrick's Kendrick, so it is what it is.
Right. First, I'm glad you brought him up. Drake cannot keep getting away with this shit. Nigga, we have had a whole podcast episode about J. Cole and K-Dot. How is Drake sliding without ain't made a response in almost 3 weeks?
Oh, because there is no response. What can you say?
The one thing this is me get on my quick soapbox. The slander that is coming J. Cole's way. 1, if you want to slander him for the beef stuff, cool. But slander that same light-skinned motherfucker over there doing the Tootsie Twist or whatever he's doing ain't responding to nobody. Like, dog, ain't no way you gonna tell me the dude who don't respond at all is getting less hell than the person who at least tried to respond.
No, I think the thing with it is though, right? Most people know Drake can't fight. He can't fight this fight.
Yeah, but there's some people who said the same thing about J. Cole.
No, but that's the thing. I will give, you and Brother Drewski have said it. I will give J. Cole props for even trying. Like, that alone says me, all right, you know what, you good in my book. But Drake, nigga, you beat Meek Mill from your ghostwriter. Then you got washed by Pusha T. And that's Pusha T. Imagine what Kendrick would do if Drake did a response. Kendrick would eat him for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and dessert.
This nigga just sliding ain't catching like no shrapnel.
Well, that's because he already catch shrapnel from everything else he freaking does in life. Whether it's the unsolicited dick video, pic, whatever thing.
I don't know. I don't know this man, Harpo, but yes.
I have women coworkers who talked about it, so yeah. And you know which ones I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. I don't know. Maybe shout out to that person. Maybe no, we don't need them on the podcast. But you can listen though.
No, hell no. But like Drake, again, let's also keep in mind Drake doesn't have anything to stand on either because that last album was trash. Like out of what 18 songs you could play 3,
Yeah.
and then only until he released the bonus version that included 6 songs that you could play from that first bonus song to the end, front to back, and you fine. But it took everyone going off on him to do that. Drake don't got nothing. The only thing that he gonna talk about, which, as much as I hate to say it from your comparison,
Yeah.
Drake in this comparison is LeBron James with the longevity. I hate to say that. It makes me sick to say that, but whatever. But Drake can't say nothing. There's nothing he can say. Like there's literally he's already pretty much been excommunicated out of this beef. Like anything that he could say afterwards, I don't care when it happens, it's null and void. Because again, you were so adamant that when Meek Mill didn't respond in 4 days, you dropped back to back. And I mean, when you did the OVO fast on that, I remember that. Nigga, you legit put up every Twitter meme that came with that song and put it on stage, and then went in a freaking roll while you were rapping back to back. Then Pusha T punched you in the face, and you ain't been the same since.
Yeah.
So there's nothing he can say. There's nothing he can do. I don't care whatever response he think he may have. It's too late. Like even if he could drop the fire's verse, and the first thing I'm gonna think of is how long did it take a ghostwriter to write that? Because it's obviously not you. And you can't use you're on tour because J. Cole's on tour too. And J. Cole released something. Now, was it big? Sure. But at least he tried. You didn't even try. So if you even dropped
that's
fire,
the part where I'm like, nigga, how you he literally just put his in a way, he literally put his name on a group project.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that's not there. We could talk all night about how my feelings about Drake. One thing I will say, and we can end on this note, for those people who I know I really don't care, and it's going to sound like I care because I'm responding to it, but the people who are talking spicy about J. Cole and trying to say, oh, he trash, oh, this is why he not part of the big three anymore, I'm like, shut up. Who you really going to replace him with? Future?
No.
Same nigga that said, la-di-da-di-da?
No, we're not doing this. We're not doing this.
I was like, you already know.
We're not doing this. We're not doing this.
Big John, Kendrick let him know he ain't never being a part of Big Three. There is literally no one in their generation that would take J. Cole's spot. If anything, we really want to talk about bars. If you say some foolishness, I swear to God, I will end this recording. This will be no transparent moment. If you say some foolishness, I will cut this recording. Mr. Smith, who do you have in mind? No. Stand on business.
All right. I want to make sure I preface this, listeners. This is a joke. I am not serious when I say this. But I was going to say Wale.
Nigga trying to find himself. He can't even find 3. Nigga can't even find a label. Nigga been on more than 3 labels. Can't be a part of no big 3.
Damn, he really has been on more than 3 labels.
Nigga jump 14 than LeBron.
Yeah. But go ahead. Sorry, I just couldn't help myself.
No, people who've been talking spicy, I'm like, dog. No, let's be very real. If we want to talk about recency bias and who need to get dropped in the big 3, you better look at the light-skinned motherfucker over there with the heart-shaped haircut in his head. We ain't forgot about that shit. But I say that to say, me and Mr. Smith have had this great dialogue. Like I said earlier in the episode, we'll give you part 2 of this conversation about Dreamville Festival from the perspective of the actual event, and part 2, which will come out later this week on Friday, hopefully, at the time that you're listening to this. Transparent moment. Find the balance and inner peace between owning your actions, standing on your actions, but when it doesn't align with who your star player is, be big enough to be able to own it and try to move forward past it. If you got any more thoughts, you want to share your opinions, your thoughts, respectfully, of course, because nigga, I will block you like Matumbo. You can hit us up on our social media at the TNT Pod123 on Twitter, Truth and Transparency Pod on Instagram, Truth and Transparency Pod on TikTok. Hopefully, it's still up. The Truth and Transparency Podcast on Facebook, the Truth and Transparency Podcast on YouTube, and you can always hit us up in our email at Truth and Transparency Pod123 for Mr. Smith, for myself, for our fan supporters, and everyone who listens to the podcast. If this podcast gets no bigger than what it is right now, they are forever grateful. We are forever grateful. And the immortal words of my father: eat the elephant one bite at a time. Peace.
Brandon Marshall, what you mean? Or sorry, Keyshawn Johnson, what you mean LeBron James ain't got no posters? Jason Terry? Kevin Love? Joseph Nurkic? Get out of my face if I hit you like a J. Cole.
Wow.
Like for the first time in my life and the most clearest time in my life, I got in tune. And it was not a switch, it's not just a switch that I clicked, but it did take work. And a song like this is the result of that work. Only because I was so clear when I was making this song and making this album was I able to do this. Now why am I saying all of that? Because all of the goofy type shit that I look back on that I was doing before that, luckily, I look at the last 10 years of my life and I go, damn, like, my life been peaceful, my life been blessed, I've been happy, I've been moving on my own accord, off my own desires, my own wants. Now why am I saying all of that? All of that shit led me up until this point, 10 years later after this song, I'm here I am. I've been just chasing my shit, you know what I mean? Like following my dream and just trying to like head to the fall off in the way that I wanted to do it. And so I put out this project on Friday called Might Delete Later. I don't know how many people done checked it out or whatever, but I put this project out. And I swear to God, I'm so proud of that project because I know one, it's just a lead up. It's just an EP that leads me up to this thing that I've been working on for a long time. And I know the work it took to get to a certain type of skill level, and I love this shit. So that shit means a lot to me, right? So I'm so proud of that project, except for one part. It's one part of that shit that make me feel like, man, that's the lamest shit I ever did in my fucking life, right? And I know this is not what a lot of people want to hear. I know I can hear my niggas up there right now like, nah, don't do that, but I gotta keep it 100 with y'all, right? I damn near had a relapse, right? Because y'all heard some shit that happened 2-3 weeks ago, however long it was. Y'all heard that bazooka that was dropped on the motherfucking game, right? So all of this time of me moving on my own accord, for the first time I was tested. Why am I tested? Because I got the world and I got my niggas like, what you gonna do, Cole? My niggas like, big boy, I must have had 1,000 missed calls. Oh my fucking God. Text flooded, I couldn't even answer my shit. Nigga, it's wartime. Niggas wanna see blood. And I was conflicted because one, I know my heart, you know what I mean? And like, I know how I feel about my peers, these two niggas that I just been blessed to even stand beside in this game, let alone chase their greatness, right? So I felt conflicted because I'm like, bro, I know I don't really feel no way, but the world want to see blood. I don't know if y'all can feel that, but the world want to see blood. So I say all of that to say, in my spirit of trying to like get this music out, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I moved in a way that I feel spiritually feel bad on me. Like I try to like jab my nigga back and I try to keep it friendly, but at the end of the day, when I listen to it and when it comes out and I see the talk, that shit don't sit right with my spirit. That shit make me feel, that shit disrupts my fucking peace. So what I wanna say right here tonight is in the midst of me doing that and in that shit, trying to find a little angle and downplay this nigga's fucking catalog and his greatness, I want to say right now tonight, how many people think Kendrick Lamar is one of the greatest motherfuckers to ever touch a fucking microphone? Dreamville, y'all love Kendrick Lamar, correct? As do I. So I just want to come up here and be like, publicly be like, bro, that was the lamest, like, goofiest shit. And I say all that to say, it made me feel like 10 years ago when I was moving incorrectly. And I pray that God align me back up on my purpose and on my path You know what I mean? I pray that my nigga really didn't feel no way. And if he did, my nigga, I got my chin out. Take your best shot, I'm gonna take that shit on the chin, boy, do what you do. You know what I mean? Like, all good. Like, it's love. And I pray that, you know, I pray that y'all are like, forgive a nigga for like the misstep and then I can get back to my true path. Cause I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Past 2 days felt terrible. Like, it let me know how good I've been sleeping for the past 10 years. So all of that to say, man, I wanna now perform the song that's a reminder to me of getting back on the right path and getting in tune with God. And the name of the song is called Love Yours, Love Yours, Love Yours, Love Yours, Love Yours, Love Yours, Love Yours.